The Circuit Assembly program today is a clear indication that we are close to the end of this system of things. Why do we say that? Let's open our Bibles to John chapter 14. It's the theme scripture for our program today. John chapter 14, and let's look at verse 1. Now, Jesus said these words right before the events that took place that led up to his death. Notice what he tells his faithful followers. He says, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Exercise faith in God. Exercise faith also in me." Yes, what they were going to experience, the events that they were going to face, could trouble them, could shake their faith. And they would hear lies and misinformation. Jesus was reassuring them, don't let it trouble you. Exercise faith. Well, we too are on the cusp of the Great Tribulation. And the events that we're going to face may cause us some concern. But Jehovah and Jesus are reminding us, don't let your hearts be troubled. Exercise faith. And our program today is going to help us to do that. How to exercise faith as we move forward into the events that are about to occur. Now, let's first establish what it means to exercise faith. Let's go back to the book of John, and let's look in chapter 3, verse 16. John chapter 3, and notice verse 16. "For God loved the world so much that he gave his only begotten Son, so that everyone exercising faith in him might not be destroyed, but have everlasting life." You see that phrase, exercising faith? The study note in the New World Translation highlights that this would not be just a one-time act, but it's a life characterized by acting in faith. Yes, exercising shows that it's something we're continuing to do. We're exercising faith day by day in Jehovah, in Jesus, and their promises. It also indicates that it's more than just a belief. It's acting on those beliefs. It's trusting Jehovah and Jesus and their promises and obeying what they instruct us to do. When we do so, we're exercising faith. And what does it lead to? It leads to a permanent place in Jehovah's family where we'll be able to worship him forever, everlasting life. Now, it's this type of faith that Jehovah sees. When we display that type of faith where we're continually obeying him and obeying the instructions, that leads to his approval. For example, think about Abraham and Rahab, what Jehovah recorded about them and their faith. Let's open our Bibles to James chapter 2, and let's read about their faith, and notice what their faith included and why it led to Jehovah's approval. James chapter 2, and let's focus in on verse 21. It says, "Was not Abraham, our father, declared righteous by works after he offered up Isaac, his son, on the altar?" You see that his faith was active along with his works, and his faith was perfected by his works. And the scripture was fulfilled that says, Abraham put faith in Jehovah, and it was counted to him as righteousness, and he came to be called Jehovah's friend. You see that a man is to be declared righteous by works and not by faith alone. Now notice about Rahab in verse 25. "In the same manner, was not Rahab the prostitute also declared righteous by works after she received the messengers hospitably and sent them out by another way?" Did you notice what Abraham and Rahab's faith included? Works. They took action. They not only believed, but they took action. to show that they trusted in Jehovah. They trusted in his promises and in his word. Now, you, dear friends, you also are like Abraham and are like Rahab. You too have a life pattern of exercising faith, of showing Jehovah you love him by obeying his instruction, obeying his son, our leader, obeying the governing body and the faithful slave. You have faith. But as we go into these last days and into the great tribulation, what can we do to imitate Abraham and Rahab so we can continue to show that we have faith and we continue to exercise it? Let's consider four things that are going to assist us. The first one is reflecting on Jehovah's deeds in saving his people in the past. Notice why that's so important in Romans chapter 15. Let's open our Bibles there. Romans chapter 15. Romans chapter 15. Let's look at verse 4. It says, "For all the things that were written beforehand were written for our instruction, so that through our endurance and through the comfort from the scriptures, we might have hope." Isn't it interesting? Jehovah had everything recorded in the Bible for us, so that when we reflect on it, we reflect on what he has recorded, it gives us comfort. It reassures us. It helps us to endure. And that's why he asks us to reflect on his deeds, on how he guided and how he blessed his servants in the past. As we reflect on that, it strengthens our faith. It gives us confidence. The second thing we want to do is reflect on how Jehovah's promises always come true. Remember what Joshua 23:14 says? It reminds us that not one word of Jehovah's ever fails. His promises always come true. Reflecting on that reassures us that we can put confidence in his instructions. We can obey him because they will only benefit us, because they always come true. The third thing we want to reflect on is how Jehovah has answered our personal prayers. Some have the habit of writing down what they prayed to Jehovah about and then noting how he answered it. And it's interesting, Jehovah always answers with good things and just at the right time. See, when we reflect on our personal prayers and how Jehovah has answered them, it reminds us that Jehovah is always there for us to strengthen us, and we can trust him. We can exercise faith in him. So do you remember the three things we do? One, first, reflect on Jehovah, how Jehovah has guided and blessed his servants in the past, what he's recorded in the Bible. Secondly, we reflect on how Jehovah's promises always come true. Third, we reflect on how he's answered our prayers. It reconfirms to us who Jehovah is. In fact, have you ever been asked to verify your identity? Maybe you showed your driver's license or a passport. Well, when we reflect on what Jehovah's done in the past, his promises always coming true, how he's answered our prayers, it confirms to us who Jehovah is. And it helps us to exercise faith. Now, once we've done those three things, that leads to our fourth thing. And that's for us to pray to Jehovah. And in that prayer, we want to include two things. One, we want to imitate the apostles and ask Jehovah to give us more faith. The second thing we want to include in that prayer is highlighted for us at Philippians chapter 2. Philippians chapter 2, and notice verse 13. "For God is the one who, for the sake of his good pleasure, energizes you, giving you both the desire and the power to act. Yes, in your prayer, you ask Jehovah not only for more faith, but also the desire and the power to act on your faith, just like Abraham did, just like Rahab did, and just like you have done in the past. When we do so, we'll be able to put works next to our faith, and it's going to lead to our approval by Jehovah. It keeps us safe and secure in our relationship with him. And that's what this program today is designed to do. It's designed to help us exercise faith. Jehovah's prepared it. So we're equipped with what we need to continue to exercise faith. In fact, pull out your program. Let's look at some of the exciting things we're going to consider. You notice the picture there? Do you see the family in the background? That's Rebecca and Isaac. They're with their family. We're going to learn how we can imitate their faith in the family arrangement. Do you see the woman there? That's Esther. We're going to learn how we can imitate Esther when we face opposition. Or how about Timothy there? That picture is of Timothy. We're going to learn how we can imitate Timothy when we face temptation. And let's look at some of the other parts of the program. At 11:15, we're going to learn how our faith is going to help us when we face challenging territory where we have to witness in and preach in. Our public discourse is going to reconfirm to us that Jehovah's word always comes true. And notice the symposium in the afternoon. We're going to see how our faith can help us not to be anxious when we face economic pressure, or how to make best use of our time in these last days, how our faith plays a part in that. And we'll see also in that last part, remain no part of the world, how our faith is going to help us stay neutral and on Jehovah's side. And that final talk, you're going to enjoy it because you're going to hear how Jehovah appreciates you. Now, why is it so important that we exercise faith? Because it's faith that's going to save us through the Great Tribulation. It's faith that's going to help us be brought into the new world. And it's faith that's going to help us endure whatever trials that we face preceding the new world. That's why it's so important that we pay attention today, because Jehovah is instructing us how to exercise faith. In fact, if we look back at our program, you notice there's 6 questions that Jehovah's going to help us bring into focus this matter of exercising faith. And we want to pay attention today and see if we can answer those 6 questions. And let's start with the first one. Notice that first question. What will result from our exercising faith? The answer is there in John 3:16. We will have Jehovah's approval and help, and he will bring us into the new world. Yes, may this assembly strengthen your faith. May this assembly program help you build your trust in Jehovah and in his promises. Let all of us be determined to let this assembly program equip us so we can exercise faith.